Well, we met actually in North Carolina. We were having a retreat. We were both on the music panel of the National Endowment for the Arts. So that's how we met initially. I had known who he was and he knew who I was, but we had never personally met. And then they took the panel to Winston-Salem to have the panel meeting. And it was at that time that David and I got to be real friends because we sort of hung out together. And we started thinking about a Houston Opera Studio even as early as that. But I lived in Florida at the time, and of course he had just taken over the Houston Opera. So it was a vision that we had of early on, the idea of creating a training program for young singers in that very difficult time between the conclusion of their university training and professional stage. And there was simply no place for that. And we said, this is very regrettable. This is a real lack. But we said, he said, you're in Florida and I'm in Houston. So as luck would have it, I was offered a position at the University of Houston, a chair professorship, which I took with a great alacrity because it meant living in Houston, also working with David at the Houston Grand Opera. And the first thing we did was to create the Houston Opera Studio. I represented the University of Houston, and he represented, of course, Houston Grand Opera. But it was a venture that was not wholeheartedly endorsed when it was first promoted and discussed, but people began very quickly to see the value of it, and it has succeeded far beyond our wildest expectations now. It's one of the premier training programs in the world. He said he was coming and would like to talk to me about a commission for the Houston Grand Opera for the bicentennial. And so he showed up after the performance of my opera, and we met outside, and he looked like a college sophomore, you know. And but he was a very serious young man, obviously well on the way to becoming a very superb general director. And that's, of course, what happened very quickly. But so I had been approached by several other companies at the same time to do something for the bicentennial, but I chose Houston, which in those days had no reputation at all before he took it over. And it was really astonishing. In the space of about 2 or 3 years, it began to develop a world reputation. And his career was certainly launched by that time. And then once I moved to Houston, we stayed in very close connection and became very close friends, as well as professional associates.